Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to On a Real Note. My name is Xochitlh.
And my name's Alyzza. And today we're going to be doing something extra special because today is Father's Day. So I just want to say happy Father's Day out there to all of the dads, stepdads, grandpas, uncles, father figures out there. Just want to say a happy Father's Day, and I hope you're having an amazing day today.
Or as your dad says, a phenomenal.
Yes, exactly.
Phenomenal day.
As my dad says, I hope you guys are having a phenomenal day. So today, usually with us we talk about business and just different things like in our lives, but they always usually lead to business and, our journey. And today we're going to be doing the same thing, but since it's Father's Day, I thought it would be very special if we did that, but if we basically talked about our dads and their impact, into our lives.
Yeah.
For people who do not know, I know I said it previously, but my dad and we actually do business together. He has taught me, I don't even know, so much about, what kind of businesswoman I want to be. He's taught me so much on what it means to, be loving and caring and being there for people at the same time, being, that business person, being able to have those tough conversations and everything. He's taught me so much. And, for my dad, my dad has been there for me, throughout my entire life. My parents, they retired about when I was 5 years old, and I want to say around that age, just when they were retired. And my parents were always there. They were always, I would have field trips, and they would have the class parties for Christmas and all the little holidays and events, and my parents were always there. My dad was always there, and that was something special because moms, it was easier to see moms showed up, but you never ever saw another dad there. I never ever experienced another dad being there. The only reason I knew other students' dads was because if they were my friends, I would go over to their house and then I would meet their dad. But that was pretty much the only way I even really knew who the person's, my friends' dads were or other students' dads were. But with my dad, he was always there. He would go on field trips. He would be, like I said, the parties. He even would volunteer at my school. So there was a picture of my dad at my school on the wall. So my dad was just always super involved. He used to coach. He coached me in sports. I remember growing up. I remember being I think I was 6 years old, and I would count down how many years left until my dad could finally coach me when I played a sport at my school, because I believe when you were in 5th grade you could start playing sports, and I knew that my dad could be my coach, so he would tell me when you start doing sports I want to coach. So I remember just almost every day I would come back from school, Dad, it's only this many days, or I would be Dad, there's only this many days left until you can coach me, this many days left until you can coach me. It would be 100 and blah 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 days, or if it was little, I'd be oh, there's 6 more years or 5 more years or 3 more years. I would literally count down the days until it was time for my dad to coach me. And when I did, my dad, he taught me a lot of lessons that I'm now able to bring here, being a businesswoman, being an entrepreneur. And it honestly, my dad is my mentor. He coaches me, he pushes me now, and I think it's a blessing that my dad had been my coach in the past. He was my volleyball and basketball and softball coach, but it's a coach nonetheless. And I think somebody who's been in sports, I've been in plenty of sports. I've been 11 sports in my life, and I think my having that relationship with my dad, where he was able to literally like train me through every single sport and coach me. He was always able to see my abilities and who I really am, like when it comes to it, like when I'm competing or when I'm pushing myself or when I have like a moment of defeat and like me pushing through that, or me like not giving up since I was like a little baby, like a little kid, and then now like as like a 21, like almost, well, 22 now, yesterday, year old woman, you know, like it's just like a beautiful thing.
22 now, yesterday.
Yeah, 22 now, yesterday, because today's Father's Day. Yesterday was my birthday.
Oh yeah, your birthday's on the 17th.
Yeah, my birthday's on the 17th. So, it was just, I don't know, like with me and my dad, it's always had like just like that bond of knowing like he knows me, he knows all of my abilities, and every single time like it came to business and it comes down to it, he's able to like look me in the eye and be like, I know you, I've seen you compete, I've seen you like literally fall on your face, but like in sports it's literally fall on your face and get back up and keep going no matter what. Like I've seen you scrape your knees literally and get up and keep going. I've seen you like a ball hit your face and you have no reaction and you keep going. Like I've seen a ball knock your teeth out and you keep going. He's accidentally kicked a ball in my gut and I fall and I can't breathe and I keep going after that. Like he's seen all of it and he's seen me keep pushing through and keep going. And you know, like I think like part of the reason I did that and I kept going was because I knew that I had my dad there and he believed in me and he would push me and he would keep going, like you got this, like keep going, and like it created that in me that like you never give up, you just never give up. Because he would always tell me, you know, like how dads are, especially like Hispanic or anybody, but like I know like with us, like I experienced it a lot in Hispanic families, or like because their last name is Muñoz, so they're like, Muñozes don't give up, like you don't give up, you know, like I know a lot of people have that parent or that dad, but like because I would get told that a lot, like I believed it and I would be like, you know what, like I know who my dad is, I know who, like I've seen him not give up, why am I gonna give up? Like I'm his daughter, I'm not gonna give up. So I think like in me, one thing I really appreciate, like besides obviously having my dad there and him always being there, him getting like Mom of the Year award at the school.
Hey, he always changes to Dad of the Year because he's like, I was the first Dad of the Year.
He was the first Dad of the Year. I say Mom of the Year because it was usually like every year they would choose the Mom of the Year, but he had it like where it said Dad of the Year, and that was the first time that they've ever had that, and that's actually the only time they've ever had that. Because my brothers like kept going to that school, and they since like hadn't had another Dad of the Year, but you know it's just something like really, for me, it was really special, especially because like for people who don't know, actually the day that I was born was Father's Day. So for me, Father's Day has always kind of just been something super special for me, because obviously not only was I born that day, but I am my father's first child and oldest child, only girl. And I was born on Father's Day, so I made my like dad's gift of becoming a father was literally having a child.
Yeah.
So to me, like it's just something that I've always like hold near and dear to my heart. Something that's always super special to me, especially because like I really love my dad, and I'm so like super grateful for everything that he does and continues to do for me and like my growth and my future. You know, like every single thing in my life, I would like my future success, my chance to have the life that I have, none of it would be possible if I did not have my dad.
Yeah. So for my dad, wow. My dad and I have always been, I don't know, I guess like that father-daughter duo. Like,
you're his mini-me, literally.
Yeah, I'm literally his mini-me. Like, my dad started me off skateboarding with him. He still does it with us. Like if I go ask him like, hey dad, let's go skate to the park or something like that, he still does it. Grew up biking with him. I grew up, he basically trained me since a little baby to work out with him side by side, go run 3 miles with him nonstop. Like my dad, if he's taught me anything, and I mean he's taught me a lot, but if he's taught me anything, if it's just one thing, the main thing, that would be to never give up. My dad has definitely taught me to never give up. He I've I don't even know where to start, because my dad is literally the most relentless man out there that I have met. Like, it does not matter what happens. If he has something to do, he will do it. There has been very difficult times in our life where he has been they've tried forcing him to make a decision. And I mean, I can give the example. It's like a really, really good example would be when my mom was giving birth to my older sister. And everything got complicated. My sister was basically, she was a preemie, but she wasn't supposed to be born as early as she was. Basically, everything was happening. I don't remember exactly what happened, but I know something went wrong. And my mom was in the hospital, so they gave my dad basically that ultimatum of like, hey, you have to choose who you're going to want in your life. It's either going to be, we either have to do everything we can to... It would be either you have to choose your wife or you have to choose your daughter. You have to decide who we're going to work, literally use all of our people here, use all of our tools, all of whatever they had. It was either we give our 100% to saving your wife or we give our 100% to saving your daughter, but there's no way we can save both. And somebody, a husband, a wife, if you had your significant other and now you were in that situation, and that's probably one of the hardest things that you can ever be put through. And my dad, just so you guys can get an idea of how relentless this guy is, he told them, no, you're gonna save them both. And if you don't save them both, I'm not gonna say what he said, but he said you're gonna save them both. And you have no other option. There is no other choice. You have to save them both. And because he made that choice, both of them are alive.
Well, and you.
Well, yeah, of course. But he would have chosen my mom, I hope. I would have. Anyway, he can have more kids. He can have, I love you, sister. But, you can have more kids. You can't have another, wife. It's not the same thing. But he, obviously, to him, they were both as special. They were both as important. And, he hasn't even met his daughter yet. And he already, So, just so you guys can get an idea of how relentless he is, he literally told them, there is no choice. You guys are going to save them both, and that's it. That's final. And so they did. They saved them both. And if he wouldn't have said that, obviously one wouldn't be here and the other one would. Or, I don't know, maybe the doctor wouldn't be here. I'm kidding. No, but yeah. So my dad is that relentless, but he's taught me that since a very, very young age, to push through pain, physical, mental, all of it. Everything. My parents are very religious, so my dad was always a man who told me, if you have God by your side, you can get through it. Anything. You can get through it all. And that helped me a lot. That helped me a lot throughout my whole life. It's just, things get hard. You do a prayer and you believe that God has a plan for you. He has something better for you in the future, and you go ahead and you push forward. But my dad has been there. He's a very... He doesn't like people knowing this, but he's a very emotional guy. Oh, it's
okay. My dad too.
Yeah, he's a very emotional guy, but he doesn't.
Sorry,
he doesn't.
Everyone knows.
Everybody sees that about your dad.
Yeah.
My dad, on the other hand, he doesn't show it. He feels it, but he doesn't show it at all. He doesn't show it. I think me seeing even just my dad cry, I think I've only seen it once, my whole life.
I see my dad tear up, but I think he only cried, actually cried.
No, I mean, tear up. I don't mean cry.
Okay.
I know he's cried, but I mean tear up. I've only seen him tear up once. And I know that's obviously not the only time, because my dad is very much an emotional guy. He's one of those, love language, like, it has to be, like, physical touch. Like, I remember growing up with my dad, watching movies, because he loves cartoons, exactly, and cuddling. Like, that was that dad's like, hey, come here, and he, like, hugs you, and you guys are watching, like, a cartoon together.
Yeah, that was me and my dad.
Yeah, and so, like, that was, like, my connection with my dad. My dad's, like, my best friend. He's always been like that. Even in the worst times, he's always, like, came through, you know, regardless of what was going on. He always checks up on me. You know, I don't live with my parents anymore, but he always checks up on me. My mom does too. And I have an amazing relationship with my mom also. But my dad's always been, like, my best friend. He's always been a very great inspiration when it comes to not giving up, when it comes to learning to love somebody, relationships, protecting the people you love. That's been a huge one. He's just overall a really great role model. He's very, very, very kind person. He's very funny. He's goofy, just like me. I mean, I'm just like him, I guess you can say, you know. But yeah, my dad overall, he's just such an amazing guy. He's also very good looking, just like me. I mean, just like him. Sorry. No, but
you do look like him.
I do look like him. He's just looks white with colored eyes. But you know, just imagine me white with colored eyes. You know, a lot.
And short hair, short blonde hair.
Right. If I were a guy.
Well, yeah.
I'm just saying, like, you know, if I just looked like him, not if I was him.
Okay.
Not if I was him, I looked like him.
Okay.
Like, more like him. But yeah. Overall, yeah, my dad has been at some times, like, probably even, like, a lifeline, you know, like, when things get hard, like, you think about your parents, you know, and you kind of just you know, just think about it. You think about them in the future and what you want for them. You think about how what life you can give them.
Yeah.
You always, like, the thought is, like, wanting to repay them for everything that they have ever done for you, you know? And then just thinking back, like, obviously all the stuff we've talked about is nothing compared to, like, everything that we've gone through with our parents.
Yeah.
But if you think about it all, like, overall, like, they've done so much, you know? And obviously parents aren't perfect, and that's okay, but all the stuff that they've taught us with, you know, everything has been amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing, an amazing life. We've learned so much from them.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know, it's crazy. It's just crazy thinking about, because I've never done this, you know, talk about my dad like that. Like, I've talked one-on-one to, like, people about it, but it's like when you talk about it more in depth, them being the subject of the conversation, you know, it's crazier.
Yeah, I think, like, I kind of like what you said a lot about, like, repaying your dad and, like, wanting to give him a great life. Like, you know, I know my parents' situation is obviously different than your parents' situation, but that doesn't change anything about, like, the life that I know I could still give them. Because my parents, they're well off, they're fine, like, they don't need anything from me. But no matter what, like, I am fully aware, like 100% aware that like, I think I said it earlier, like, the life that I want for myself, everything that I talk about, like, the life that I want to lead, the dreams I have of my future family, like, everything, like, it's just such a beautiful thing. And I know that none of that is possible if it weren't for my parents and their own decisions that they've made. I know, like, when it came to the business, my mom was here first. But if it wasn't for my dad making that decision to come together with her, they would not have what we have now. Because my parents make each other better. And my dad, you know, my mom had been growing consistently. But my dad, he made that decision, like, that hard decision of, like, am I going to leave this job that's giving me so much money, especially, like, at that time, a job that's giving me so much money, like, I think at this time it would be, like, worth, like, what, like, almost $300,000.
Possibly around there, because it was like like 150,000 probably back then. He said, I think I remember it was around there.
Yeah,
150,000 back then. That was like 25, 27 years ago.
Yeah.
So now it'd be probably double.
Yeah. So it'd be between like 200, 300,000 of income nowadays, and to leave such a solid career to like basically like have to start all over again from the bottom and build yourself up to have an amazing business, an amazing career. Like my dad, he showed me what it, like, obviously I wasn't there when he made that decision, but to hear the story over and over again, yeah, to take that leap of faith, trust yourself, and to always, trust your partner, and to always grow. Like I always saw my dad, because like my dad, he had to grow after like a certain point, because he was a very successful businessman before. He was great at what he did. He was really good. He climbed the corporate ladder. He did all of that. He was very successful in the field that he was in, and that was amazing. But even then, when my mom started, going into entrepreneurship, she grew a lot. Yeah, she expanded his mindset. She continued to grow, and he made that decision, like, I have two options. Am I gonna, like, keep myself where I'm at, or am I gonna grow with my life? And him consistently making, like, just decisions where he really analyzed, he made the best, and he trusted himself, and he ran with it, and he never gave up. Right. He didn't give up. He didn't look back. He kept going, and he basically, like, he trusted himself and just, like, believed it and went with it.
Yeah.
And like that's something that, like, because he did that, like, one, I look up to that so much, but two, because he did that, I know that the life that I could have is because of him. And it's all because of him. And I'm very, very grateful, like, to him, and I appreciate him, because, like, if it wasn't, like, really, like, I don't know what, like, my future path could have really been, or what it could have looked like if it wasn't for him. And, like, how to, like, basically give him, like, pay him back for that, I don't even know how I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna spend the rest of my life doing that. Yeah. Because like I really think about it, and I look at how big my future is gonna be, and knowing that that's all from my dad, like, I have so much, like, gratitude and appreciation, and it's just like I'm gonna do my best to give you an amazing life, whether it's literally to grow his business to the biggest I can make it, and or to, like, I don't know, help him make as much money as he can, or any way that I can, like, any way that to him he'll look at and he'll know, like, any way that I can show him, I just appreciate him, and I appreciate what he's done for me. Like, I'm gonna do it, because I truly know that nothing, like, I couldn't have any single thing that I'm going to have without him. And, like, that's just something, like,
even just be in this life without him, couldn't be,
No, I really couldn't.
Yeah, for me with my dad, he's worked his ass off forever. He's been working his ass off. He still works his ass off, Yeah. He's a very, very hardworking man. He's literally, like, messed up his back for our family, Yeah. And obviously, like, the way that my parents work, my mom's an at-home mom, and he's always done everything to provide for her to not have to go to work. Mm-hmm. He's always liked to keep her comfortable, regardless. Like, she wants to work, but she really doesn't have to, because he provides everything for them. Even if it's barely enough, he does it. He makes it happen. They have food on the table every day. They have clothing on their backs. They have a roof over their head. Sorry. And he's always made the best decisions to his knowledge. So everything he has done for our family. He bought a house at a very, very young age back then, especially. He got screwed over, but he got us a house. You know, it's a really big house for our neighborhood too. It was a good choice he made. You know, he's made so many good choices in his life that even at young ages, you know, things that we are at our age wouldn't have to think about. Like at my age right now, I'm 21. He's already had, I think, two kids. Probably around. He's probably already had.
Yeah, 2 kids.
I think. Wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, he already had 2 kids. He was already married. He had 2 kids. He had his probably 5th, 6th job already, because he also was kind of climbing the ladder, trying to find a stable job. You know, something that provided well enough. He used to have 2 to even 3 jobs all the time. He would work, you know, in the mornings. He would work in the afternoons, and then he would work weekends. He would do whatever he had to do to have my family well, like be okay, you know. So me learning that from my dad, I've learned a lot to love and cherish your family. Everything that he has taught me has been extremely amazing, extremely emotional, obviously, because my dad, like I said, is an emotional guy, and because of that I'm an emotional person. I love people. I love taking care of everybody that I love. They're like my priority. So the person who I am really reflects off of my dad a lot. You know, obviously you are a lot like your parents, but I'm very much like my dad when it comes to like my whole like very emotional, caring side. Yeah, my dad's just he's done a lot, you know. My dad has done a lot. He's been a father since 15, like I said, so you can only imagine. He's about...
He's
40. I think he's 50 now.
No,
about to be 50 then.
Our parents are 10 years apart. Our dads are 10 years apart, exactly.
Oh, they are?
Yeah. So your dad is 47.
Okay. So my dad right now, he's 47, and so he's been working for half of his life, basically. Like fully, like half of his life, he's been working his butt off. He's been working his butt off. And so, you know, me growing up, seeing how much he physically does, like at his job for us. For those of you who don't know him, he does dialysis. Like he helps with dialysis. He's a dialysis technician. And the way that things were supposed to go, he wasn't even supposed to be where he's at. But he did everything in his power to get that job that he has now, and he's been doing whatever he can to maintain it. And like I said, he has physically wore himself out in order to keep that job, you know, because after a certain amount of time, you carrying patients, like there is no machine for it. You literally have to carry them and put them down. And obviously back then they didn't have the whole like health protocols where they show you to pick things up with your legs and not your back. So my dad doing that for years before the protocol even came up, he messed up his back, and he's still, till this day, he is still picking up patients physically and putting them down and taking care of them. And my dad has always been a person where if I go to work, everybody, like if I go to his job, everybody knows him, and because everybody knows him, everybody treats me very well. They're like, hey, do you want this to eat? Hey, do you want this? Hey, do you want that? Do you want a blanket? Do you want a pillow? And he works at a hospital, and they're like bringing me blankets and pillows for me to fall asleep. Everybody loves my dad, and he's just, you know, like when he comes in the room, he brightens up everybody's day. He talks to strangers. He makes like people laugh throughout the day. It doesn't even matter. Like my dad is literally that. He's like a star in like a night sky. Like he literally lights up people's lives like that. He's always been that way. He doesn't even care who you are, you know. It doesn't matter where you came from or who you are, anything. He will befriend you in a matter of seconds. Like that's how amazing like it is to learn that from somebody else, because now I can do that, you know. Yeah. I can befriend people easily. Communication, he's been very, very good with communication when it comes to like going and talking to people like that, you know, making people smile, literally just befriending the world. My dad has been like that. And yes, it's just like it's so much fun growing up with my dad. Growing up with somebody who you can go play basketball with whenever you want, baseball, you know, any sport. literally just whatever you want to do, like you just like tell him like, hey dad, like I really want to do this, and obviously his schedule was always crazy, but he made it happen somehow if you were persistent enough, you know, he would make it happen, because he has his job, but he also has his adult duties, and then he has his like husband duties too, you know. It's not just like your kids and that's it, but he tried his best to kind of make us feel very special, and he had 5 of us, so you can imagine how hard that was. And they were mostly all girls. There was only one boy, so you know that's
the flip of us.
Yeah, you guys.
It's really funny, like our stories, because they're like almost like the flip. Because it's for us, it's all boys, 1 girl, and they have all girls, 1 boy, and then just how like she said, like to describe her dad. That is literally my dad. Yeah. It's really funny, like
our dads are very much alike.
Yeah, my dad, just like she said. My dad, he walks in his, like, in the business, my dad is really, really, truly admired. I've heard stories of the things that my dad has done for people, and I'm just like, wow, like, that's same. Amazing. Like, me too. With, like, he did whatever he could, like, they didn't need to work side by side with him. He didn't even have to have known them that long, and, like, there's literally a guy out there somewhere in the business who now makes meals for his, like, little babies the way that my grandma, like, because my dad let this guy stay over at my grandma's place, because he lived, like, somewhere far in, like, another state, and he's like, yeah, you know what, Dad, like, you know, you can come over, stay at my house, like, my mom will gladly let you in, you can stay with us. Well, not, he wasn't living there, but they lived, like, nearby my grandma at the time. And he's like, you can stay at my grandma's house. At my mom's house, no problem. And he would go visit his mom every day. And the guy who was there, like, my grandma was teaching him, like, how he cooked her meals. And now that guy still, like, makes the meals the same way my grandma does. But it was all because, like, my dad, he found out that he was struggling to find a place to stay. He's like, no, like, don't worry about it. You can come over. Like, I have, like, you can stay with my mom. Like, I'll talk to her about it. Don't worry. Like, I'll find a place for you. Like, don't worry. I'll take care of you. And, like, that's just, like, how, like, my dad is. Like, there's so many people who have come up to me and just been like, Mija, you don't understand what your dad has done for us. Or you don't understand how your dad saved our marriage. Or you don't understand. Like, there's just so many people. Like, I've literally probably spoken to hundreds of people who have come to me and said, like, you don't understand what your dad has done for me and my wife, or me and my kids, or, like, it's just happened time and time again. And, like, my dad will literally, I promise you, if you were to sit with my dad will make you feel so special. He will literally, like, tell you the best parts of yourself. He'll find them, like, he'll figure them out, find them, and he'll make you feel real special. He'll, like, my dad, like, just knows how to connect with people. He talks to people. He literally makes them their friends. He can make the whole world their friend. The second he walks in, he's, like, everyone's best friend. Like, it's just, like, it's so cool. And because I agree, like, having a dad like that, it's just like, oh, like, my god.
You're like, yeah, that's my dad.
Yeah, that too.
Like, that's literally how it is. Like, you're so excited to show everybody your dad and have them meet your dad. And you're like, look, my dad's so cool. He can do this. He can do that, you know. And it's yeah, I agree 100% with all of that. That's exactly how my dad is. But my dad, obviously your dad is with the business. And yours is my dad was with church. With church, he was very, very much looked up to. Like, everybody, if they needed somebody to talk to, if they needed help with anything, even just stuff my dad has never even done, but my dad is a very, I guess, yeah, technically he would figure it out. You know, if you tell my dad, hey, I need help fixing this and this and that in your house, he will call people around just to figure out what he can do, or he will do the research to find it out. Even though you can do the exact same thing, he's not going to tell you, oh, go do this. He's gonna search it up, research how to do all these things, and then he'll tell you, like, oh, okay, you know what, I found this information, da 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 da. And so my dad has been there for multiple families. I honestly, right now, I haven't been around, like, people that know my parents like that. But growing up, when I was, being in church and all that stuff,
you hear all the stories
all the time. People I've never even met that my parents,
seriously.
like
they're
just
like said, the first time you meet them, hi, it's nice to meet you. They're like, oh my goodness, your dad. I'm just like, what are you doing?
And it's crazy because I know you've told me this before, and I related with you whenever there's like conventions, right, in the business. Whenever there's conventions in church, you're walking around with your parents.
You cannot keep going without stopping somebody, someone stopping your dad.
Right. It takes you in reality maybe 10 minutes to get somewhere, and you're gonna take an
hour to get there.
Yeah, because there's people lined up waiting for them to talk to this person so that they can talk to them now. And they're like, hey, hi, it's nice to meet you. Like, it's been so long. And then they start telling you like about all these stories, or they start talking about like all these things that happened between them. And just a whole bunch of stuff, and you start even like paying attention to not just the life that you've had with your parents, but the life that they've impacted, that they've impacted in other people.
It's like really getting to get a look at like your dad and be like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, it is almost like, I hope I can do that one day.
Yeah.
I hope I can impact people the way that you do. And then you kind of get a little like feeling of like, yeah, I can do it. They're my dad. I'm just like them. Because like in the kind of how you said like you're a lot like your dad. Like, I mean, you've met both of my parents. You literally work with them.
Yeah.
I have a lot of similarities with my mom, but like there's like a lot of my dad in it.
Definitely.
There's a lot of my dad in it.
You have a lot of both of them.
Yeah, I have a lot of both of them.
Yeah, you're a very, very even mixture of both physically and mentally,
emotionally,
all
personality. Yeah. I'm a pretty good mix.
Yeah.
But I do know the parts of me that are very much my dad. Like when I remember how he is, because I think the more sentimental parts of me, that's definitely where I get it from my dad. Because just like she said, her dad is the more emotional one. My dad is definitely the more emotional one. Yeah. He's very, very, very sentimental. He cares so much. Anytime my dad goes on stage and he starts talking about my mom, boom, tears. Yeah. He cannot help but cry because he speaks with so much passion and emotion, and it's just I don't know, I love it. I think it's so cute. I think he showed me a lot of who in the when I get married, who I want to marry, somebody who's a lot like him. And that's just kind of he's been that example for me a lot, since I was a baby, until now, as an adult. Yeah. It's just something I've always been very, very observant of and noticed.
Yeah.
It's just little lessons.
Yeah, me too.
Life lessons.
Just little small things that you pick up from your dad, loving on your mom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember growing up and seeing all these little things that my dad does for my mom, just the smallest things, mm-hmm. Going and even just simple stuff going to the park, and because my parents act like they're still dating, they go, even though they don't go on dates alone, they go on dates with the family, and they do it constantly. And growing up, my dad would do small things, literally he comes home and tells us okay guys, let's go. We're where are we going? And he's just just put something warm on, let's go.
My dad would do the same thing.
You go see a view, or you go to the beach or whatever, and he already has you don't even know this, but before he got home, he already he was at work, went to the little kitchen, got a hydro flask full of warm coffee, and he bought a whole bunch of desserts from the cafeteria, and then he has his blankets there already before us, and he would put it down, and he's everybody's huddled up, and he's guess what, guys, I got you a surprise. And then he would take out his warm coffee and all this stuff, things that are so simple but meaningful,
Mm-hmm.
You learn that watching. And so now there's things that now I learn, and now I have a hold of, and now I can do, acts of service. My dad was very much a man of acts of service. Yeah. And then
my dad's love language is acts of service. My mom's love language is gift giving. I think that's the perfect.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of something I've seen too, with my parents. My parents is different, because your dad did a lot of those the stuff like that. My dad didn't necessarily do that, because that wasn't what my mom wanted. Mm-hmm. My mom was more buy me shoes, buy me purses, all that stuff. So, because gift giving is her love language. But I would see him take time to plan, like, traveling with her.
Right.
And to give her, like, because my mom's
like,
very...
literally, you can give the example of them going to Paris.
No, yeah, literally. My parents... So, a place that my mom has always loved is France. She's always loved Paris, France, her whole life. And they've gone a couple times, but this time specifically, it was their anniversary. And my dad, the last time that they went, they didn't know that you had to make a reservation, like, to have dinner on, like, the top of the Eiffel Tower, like, in the restaurant there. They didn't know that you had to make reservations, like, months ahead of time. He just, I don't know why, but he thought that you can just go there and make a reservation for, like, maybe the next day or two. And that's not how that works. You literally have to do it months ahead of time, or you have to find somebody who has tickets or something who can get you in.
Yeah.
So what my dad did, I started hearing him planning. He was, like, debating between two places because my mom's wanted to go to Dubai. So he was like, should I take her to Dubai to see all those, like, really pretty lights and everything, or should I take her to Paris but do it right and take her to the Eiffel Tower, have the dinner there and everything, because they didn't get to do it the last time they went.
Right.
And the last time they went, I think, was, like, for my mom's birthday, like, a couple years ago. And what he did this time was, like, he literally just, like, before even talking to my mom about it, all he did was go online, do whatever he could, booked the Eiffel Tower. Then once he booked the Eiffel Tower, then he booked the hotel, the flights, everything. But first, he needed to make sure the Eiffel Tower thing was secure, because he knew that that's what my mom wanted.
That was kind of the point of them going.
Yeah, that was the whole point. He knew my mom would love that. And then, like, even before that, the first time that they went, my mom always wanted to get... Because she said, like, she has Louis Vuittons, you know, that's, like, no problem. But she wanted one specifically from France. Like, she wanted to buy it where they're made. I don't know if they're made there, but that's, like, the origin, at least. So she wanted to get it there. My dad literally went all over the place. He went to, like, first the one in Paris, then he went to the one in... I think it's Florence. I don't know. I think that might be Italy. I'm wrong. But there was, like, another place that they went in France that's, like, also very well known. And then they didn't have it there. So, or they had it there, but they were, like, about to close. And they were rushing my mom. And my mom's like, I don't want to be rushed. And my dad's like, don't worry about it. We're going to take a helicopter and we're going to go to Monaco. So he took her on a helicopter, took her to Monaco. They weren't closing anytime soon. And he just sat down and, like, watched my mom. And, like, she was, like, the happiest person in the world. And she was just like, babe, does this look good on me? And he's just like, what do you mean does it look good on you? Like, he doesn't understand.
It was a purse, by the way.
It was a purse, yeah. She was trying on purses. Cause my mom, mind you, my mom is 4'9". A big purse, like, it would look bad. Not bad, but it just wouldn't fit her.
It would make her look a lot smaller.
It would make her look a lot smaller. So she was trying to look for the right purse that would suit her, not be too big and make her look too small, but not be too small. That's just how my mom is. She loves that. My dad maybe doesn't fully understand it because he's he's more of, like, the emotional.
Yeah,
he was just
like, you're asking me if it looks good. What do you, like? He was thinking, like, you know, when you do that, it's like with the pair of shoes or something like that. He didn't know that women do that with purses, like,
yeah,
that it matches, that it looks good, you know, that if it suits their style. Like, he didn't know any of that, so he was just like, what do you mean does it look good? It's a purse, like, you know, just grab whatever.
Yeah, he didn't understand, but he was just like, you know what, it's like, honey, like, he after my mom explained it, he was just like, and he, like, gave his opinion, because, like, my dad, like, he cares so much, and he literally loves my mom so much, and, like, I think, like, that's something else, like, obviously, like, I've learned a lot from my dad. The example, like, having, like, seeing just how much he just cries when he talks about her, and he just has so much love. He maybe doesn't fully understand everything, and it's not the same love language, but, like, regardless, he loves her for her, and he wouldn't change a thing. And, like, I think, like, that's just something, like, I admire from my dad, and I've learned from him the way that, like, they, you know, seeing how my dad treated, like, her. Like, I always knew, like, when when I get married and I have my partner, like, not only am I going to treat them the same way, but, like, knowing that, like, if my dad did it for her, like, I know, like, my partner would do it for me. Like, and it's just such a good example of, like, he just set such a good example to me. Like, in business, in life, in, like, with God, like, he's always been, like, super, super, like, in church. Like, he was part of a youth group, and he was a youth group leader, and he and my mom both ran a youth group together, and, like, it was just, like, seeing, like, everything, like, everything that my dad has done, and how involved he's always been, and just, like, overall how he is with people. Like, he's just been such an amazing example, and it's just, like, you know, it's shown me, like, who I want to be, and who I, like, the potential of who I could be, and I don't know, it's just, like, it's given me so many lessons to learn.
Yeah. So I guess in conclusion, we can all
on a real note.
Yeah, on a real note, we can both say that we've learned to love from our fathers.
Oh yeah.
And we love hard.
Yeah.
We love very hard.
We do. Just want to say Happy Father's Day out there to all the dads, all the father figures, everybody out there who celebrates Father's Day.
Yeah, we want to know. We see all the work you guys do.
Yes, we do. You guys, you know, everything you guys do, like,
it's appreciated.
It's very much appreciated. As you can see with us, we are very deeply appreciative for our fathers. And we just want to let you guys know that, you know, despite everything, we know kids can be a headache and
especially
hard,
with us,
especially,
you guys know.
Yeah. But we also know that, you know, like, everything that you guys do, every father out there, your children love you, and they are so grateful for you and appreciative to you. So we just want to say thank you, like, a deep, heartfelt thank you for everything you guys have done, especially to our dads. We just want to say thank you for everything. We love you with all of our hearts. We hope you guys have a great day.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next Sunday.